Hi, welcome to Astro Babble. I'm Donna from Donna B Astrology,
And I'm Linda from Scullywag Astrology.
and today we are going to be talking about the new moon in Scorpio, which happens at 9 degrees 35 minutes. And so the moon mansion for this particular place in the sky for the moon is, and this is the flavor that's going to be carried through for the next 2 weeks. And it's the 18th moon mansion. It's the heart of the Scorpion. It has the flavor of Mars and Jupiter, and it's he who seizes poison and medicine. This is from Christopher Warnock's book, The Moon Mansions. It also signifies the angel of death. It it gives you protection against inimical forces and warns of impending danger. This gives you the opportunity to take precautions
Wow.
or put yourself in protective mode, which is how it was written. So a little foreboding there.
Well, it is Scorpio after all, but yeah. Damn. So this new moon, it's in Scorpio, so it's ruled by Mars, and Mars can see it by sign because Mars is in Cancer at the time. So that's helpful. As we were talking about when we spoke about this at the end of the last podcast, they will be a mutual reception because the moon is in Scorpio, which is a sign ruled by Mars, and Mars is in Cancer, a sign ruled by the moon. So that might give it a little bit more help too. Venus can't see the new moon, either can Jupiter, which is a shame because they're both benefics. We do have Mercury also in Scorpio. It's 19 degrees away from it though, which is good because that Mercury's out from under the beams. So that's good, out from under the beams of the sun. Saturn
And
is,
it's trining Mars.
yeah, yes, actually, I think that's the first aspect out, isn't it? Mercury trine Mars, first of the aspects after the new moon, I think. And new moons are all about new
Yeah.
beginnings, planting seeds, new starts. So wherever Scorpio is in your natal chart, there may be new beginnings or new seeds being planted for something to maybe come to manifestation in about 6 months at the time of the full moon in Scorpio. Let's have a look at the horoscope.
Horoscopes. I'm excited about those. I was looking at that Saturn trining the yeah, Saturn's trining the moon.
Mm.
So a little restrictive this moon will be, it seems like.
Yeah, and Saturn's going to station at the very end of this 2 week cycle after the new moon. So that will be interesting. And we recommend that you listen to your ascendant sign rather than your sun or moon sign. And if you don't understand why, we've done a video that explains all that, and we'll put a link to that in the description.
And so let's go with the Scorpio. If Scorpio is your rising sign, this is going to be things at or a time where you're going to have new beginnings for things that are just relate to yourself. So if you are setting out to maybe change your hairstyle, this would be a good time where you're like flipping through the magazines and picking out that hairstyle. This is something that things that you're starting new for yourself. So that's where these things will be happening if you are a Scorpio rising.
And if you're a Libra ascendant, this new moon will be happening in your second house. The second house is associated with our personal income and finances. So this could be that you're starting out on a new budget. Maybe you're got plans to bring in some sort of additional income or revenue. There may be something that you're looking to buy, some new resource um, that can assist you in some way. So, new beginnings, new starts, new seeds being planted to do with your personal income and finances and resources.
And if you are a Virgo ascendant, this new moon is going to be happening in your third house. And the third house are going to be new things that are going to be starting around family, or short courses or early education, as well as how you communicate. So this will be things that you're starting and maybe a new way of communicating,
Nice.
especially with Mercury opposite that Uranus.
Yeah. And if you're a Leo ascendant, this new moon is happening in your fourth house. The fourth house is the house of our home and family. It's very much associated with our parents. So it could be that these new beginnings may not have anything to do with you. Maybe it's your parents that are having some sort of new beginning or something, new ideas or seeds planted for something they want to achieve. It could be something to do with your home. Maybe you're thinking of doing something to it, but you're not actually carrying that out yet. Maybe just the germ of an idea. Or it could be like, you know, maybe you find out that somebody is going to be moving into your home. Real estate matters. You may be starting to look for somewhere new to live, or you may be looking to buy some sort of property, but you're just kind of starting out on the process at this time, or you've decided that that's what you will do.
And if you are a Cancer rising, this new moon is going to be happening in your fifth house. And the fifth house is the house of your children or anything that you create. This can be as well as the hobbies that you do and the fun things that you have. This is the fun things that you do. This could be going to a concert. So if you were thinking about going and seeing a concert or just hearing about it, you might be going and getting tickets right about now for later when there's a full moon, when that will all come to culmination. But these are new beginnings and around things that you create, things that you do for fun.
Nice. And if you are a Gemini ascendant, this new moon is happening in your sixth house. The sixth house is the house of pets. It's also the house of illness and it's service to others. So this can be people such as doctors, nurses, first responders, people that kind of give back to the community. It can be employees, so that can include if you're an employer, your literal employees, or you could be working for somebody else, but you supervise others, so they may be covered under this area. Or it could be somebody like a tradesperson carrying out work for you around the house or at the workplace. So new beginnings, new starts. So there may be a new employee or somebody that you're supervising at work. For others, maybe you've been accepted into, police academy, or you're starting training to become a fire officer, a police person, or something similar. Or, you may be getting a new pet.
And then if you are a Taurus rising, this is going to be happening in your seventh house. And the seventh house is the house of the one other. So this will be new things, new beginnings that are happening with just the one other. This could be a romantic partner, it could be a business partner, or even a doctor or a lawyer. Somebody who writes your name down to meet with you at a specific time. That's the type of relationship that the seventh house holds on to. So it'll be anything that's new with a new one-on-one person.
And if you are an Aries ascendant, this new moon will be happening in your eighth house. The eighth house is the house of other people's money. So this can include things like debts, loans, financial institutions. It can be inheritances, taxation matters, or insurance matters. Also, the house of anxiety and worry. You may find out that you're the beneficiary of a will, or maybe you're applying for a loan at this time, are at the early stages of negotiating something for going into business with someone, or it could have something to do with a partner's money because it's the second house of the partner. The seventh house is often the partner. So, yeah. So, new beginnings, new starts to do with one of those sorts of matters.
And if you are a Pisces rising, this is going to be happening in your ninth house. And the ninth house is the house of upper education, higher education, as well as foreigners. This also could have something to do with the legal part of our society. So, stay out of trouble. This could also, you don't want to be starting things. This could also be publishing. So in foreign places. So that's where these new things will all be starting.
And if you are an Aquarius ascendant, this new moon is happening in your 10th house. 10th house is the house of career and public reputation. So this may be a new job or a new job role. It could also be a new boss because this is also the house of authority figures. or it could be that you're starting something at this time that will bring you some sort of recognition or reward later down the track. So, and this could be anything. It could be, you're starting to plan a wedding, or you're doing something that will be recognized on some scale later on.
And if you are a Capricorn rising, this new moon will be happening in your 11th house. And the 11th house is your house of groups and associations. This will be new things that you're starting. You might have a new activity that you're doing. So a new group will be forming. So this is around the groups that you hang around with. If you are or if you are signing up for volleyball, this would be a time where you're starting that, to start a group activity.
And if you are a Sagittarius ascendant, this new moon is happening in the 12th house. 12th house is the house of hidden and secret matters. It's places of confinement, such as prisons or hospitals. It is also the house of our undoing. So this can be things like addictions or self-defeating habits or escapism, similar matters. It can also be spiritual. It's also places of retreat. So it can be working behind the scenes, or, literally going on a spiritual retreat, or, it may include places like monasteries and that. Also places of exile. So, yeah, new beginnings to do with one of those matters. It could be, you're going to be entering hospital, or you find out that you will be having surgery later down the track, and this is the time that you're put on a wait list. Or it could be, you're studying, for whatever reason, you're visiting a prison, whether that's because you have no choice in the matter, or you're visiting somebody there, or are employed there. It could be, somebody that, for some, it could be, entering the academy, being far away from home for some reason, being away from your usual place. Or it could be, to do with addictions. Maybe there's something that I want to say kind of triggers you at this time. Maybe there's something going on there. Or it could be you just, working behind the scenes on some new project. New seeds, new beginnings, new things happening with those sorts of matters. It could be anxiety, or it could be a hidden disease, which could be something that's, just not visible to, the people around you. It could be, some sort of autoimmune disease or something similar. I was just looking for Neptune because I kind of think of Neptune for autoimmune. You've done medical astrology. Is Neptune autoimmune usually?
It could be.
Mm,
Neptune typically is things that are hidden.
mm,
So that's an autoimmune.
mm. I'm just looking at that Mercury coming to that trine. Well, actually, just past that trine with Neptune. So maybe interesting.
Yes. Interesting. So I have a stone, and I really like the stone. I've been using it for a couple of years. It's called Howlite, and it is a white stone that has gray veining through it.
Oh,
They use this a lot in fake turquoise.
oh.
Um, but because it accepts dye very easily, it has a Mohs hardness of well, the white part is like a Mohs hardness of like 3, and the gray part is like a Mohs hardness of like 6, but they consider it a 6.5. But that this white part is a little porous, and so therefore it's not as strong as the rest of the other part. The other really cool thing that I have been it does fluorescent, which is kind of cool. Um, it will fluorescent like an orange or a blue. So that is one of the qualities that it does have. What it does do is it works on the throat chakra, and I use it for releasing anger, release it's howlite. So I use it just as the stone sounds. We're Linda and I are taping this October 24th. So It's right before Halloween. It's kind of like that. It's whatever you would use when you are looking at it like a wolf or anything that howls. This is this has a lot of those qualities of um well, it does give you calmness. It helps you with the the word I'm trying to look for is um clear 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 thinking or clear targets, clear thought, clear it's for focus, not in a sense that fluoride is good for focus, but this will help you target in on what your desires are. This will also help you target in on how to get rid of anger, how to get rid of sadness, how to voice your opinion on matters. And this is good for the throat. So if you find that blue howlite that is like fake turquoise, that is also something that you could use and a way for you to use howlite and incorporate it into your things that you wear. And that's howlite. It's a great stone. It is a great stone for relieving those that inner arg, that frustration, um that sense of like when you feel like you're tied down and you can't do anything, this helps you break through that. That's what I meant to say.
It sounds like it's really good for kind of getting away from a lot of negative emotions in general, frustration, sadness, uh, confusion. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Oh,
I use this in a release grid that I have on my website. If you've been going through grief, this is a good grid to look at and meditate with, whatever you have that needs to be released.
nice. Well, shall we have a look at the upcoming aspects?
Sounds like a fun thing to do. A lot of Mars, a lot of Mercury
A lot of Mercury.
and Pluto. I don't know what the other planets are doing, but there seems to be a lot of Mars and Pluto. So the first aspect that we have will be Mercury will trine Mars. I was looking at this the entire time that we were doing the horoscopes. I'm like, ooh, fighting words. Whoever's got this going on is fighting words or words that you can use to ramp up like a Mars Mercury type of conversation could be, in the halftime in the locker room, a coach to rev up their team. This could be a time where you could persuade things. This is also great for mental work. It's good for those if you need to have like a lot of drive. Too bad it's not tax season right now because that would be a really good use of this. It's also good for public speaking as well.
Yeah, I could see that. I kind of think great aspect for putting thought into action. And that Mars receives that Mercury in its own sign. So Mars has a feeling of generosity and kind of feels almost obligation to look after what Mercury is concerned with because it's in one of his houses. So yeah, this could be really productive, you know, thinking, oh, I've got to do this, got to do that. And you've got the energy and drive to do that. So yeah, I think it could be really interesting, really helpful. And they're both at 29 degrees. So it just kind of get this sense of like, got to get this done, before we change signs because they're soon to change signs. And yeah, interesting. And that's the day after the full moon, isn't it? Yeah. Full moon's
Yeah.
is on the first. Yeah.
And the next aspect will be Mercury will sextile Pluto. This is a good time to get off those puzzles and maybe read some books on astrology or even psychology. This is when you're going to be wanting to do that reading, that depth of reading. So any subject that has a deep matter to it, this is a good time. I would think this is also a good time to have those conversations that are deep that you might want to be having. It should work out a little bit more favorably than if it were a square.
Yeah, I agree. Interesting that Mercury, it's going to have that trine to Mars, and now it's got this sextile to Pluto. Great for transformative thinking. Yeah, with Mercury being in Scorpio, I don't want to say manipulative, but it could be certainly very Machiavellian. Could have maybe a hidden agenda behind some things, but Donna's laughing at me here. But yeah, I think this is good. I think this is really quite interesting. This is happening in Michigan at 11 a.m. What time was the earlier one? Mercury trine Mars is at 4 o'clock in the morning. So this is what, 7 hours later. So yeah, I think this is going to be a very interesting day whatever time it happens in your part of the world.
I agree. So the next aspect will be on Saturday, November 2nd. This is the same day when Mercury will enter Sagittarius. And when Mercury enters Sagittarius, it it, it it's going to feel better because no planet likes to be in Scorpio, which I don't
Yeah.
know why. But anyways, um, when Mercury goes into Sagittarius, you're going to have those conversations that are going to be more worldly, the more of a broader view. So those are the types of things that will be going on when Mercury goes into Sagittarius. It's that broader view
Mm.
that you'll want to be talking about.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Mercury in Sagittarius is in the sign of detriment because it's ruled by Jupiter, which is that's why I was kind of saying, but,
So
Connor's
being
like,
in Scorpio, where nobody's happy.
yeah. Um, yeah. So when planets in, when Mercury's in the sign of, yeah, start again. When Mercury is in a sign ruled by Jupiter, it's said to be in detriment because they're opposite. Mercury's very detail
Yeah,
orientated.
detailed.
Jupiter's,
Yeah, and Jupiter likes that broader view.
yeah. Look, even though they say it's in detriment, Mercury in Sag, great storytellers, and but don't let the facts get in the way of a good story at times either. So big picture thing, maybe some plans and ideas, maybe a bit far fetched on that, but there's something to be said for a bit of fun and shooting for the stars. So wherever Sagittarius is in your natal chart, you may be talking, thinking, or communicating more with the people and topics associated with that house. Um, you know, Positive thinking, optimistic, but yeah, maybe a little bit pie in the sky at times, but you know, can't all be drudgery or, you know, paranoia. So yeah, no, I think it'd be interesting. So this is going to be a couple of interesting days, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. November 3rd. I'm not looking forward to this one. When Mars is opposite Pluto, it could be a successful effort. This could be on the other side of that. This could be just wanting to give up. This is a challenge for Mars wants to separate, Pluto wants to change. Those are the words for or the keywords for those two planets. This could be definitely changing. This could be transformational. This can be drive to make those changes.
Yeah, yeah. Could be an explosive combination, these two. They're quite explosive, fiery. I mean, neither of them are in fire sign at the time, but Mars tends to be fiery and Pluto's kind of quite powerful. So yeah, could be some power struggles at this time. This is going to be much more impactful if you have planets at the very end of the cardinal signs. And I mean, if you have planets at the end of the cardinal signs, which is Capricorn, Cancer, Aries, and Libra, I mean, you're already kind of copying it because you've got Pluto there to start with. And these planets are coming along and kind of, making contact with them. What is interesting, what happens today, and if something is significant for you today, particularly if it involves power struggles or, as Donna was saying, that push pull between wanting to separate and wanting to transform. I'm kind of getting like a kind of, what is it? Fight or flight, you know, because we have Mars in the shadow period of its upcoming retrograde. Whatever happens today, if something significant happens, and some people it's not going to be a major impact. Whereas if you have planets, natal planets at the end degrees of those cardinal signs, you're probably going to feel this more intensely. If you do, could be very interesting to see what happens during the retrograde phase because it's going to come back over and go over those. So, yeah, definitely a day to journal, as Donna would say. Same day. This is interesting.
Oh, yep. And then the next day, or yeah, the next aspect, this is the same day, November 3rd on Sunday. And this is Venus will oppose Jupiter. And when these are two benefics, however, anytime you have an opposition, there could be challenges with that. So, be careful around drugs and alcohol. Be careful about anything, any kind of overindulgence. If you are, you know, trying to save money. This is not a day to go shopping. This is the day where you're gonna like throw away the barriers and overindulge. So be mindful of that. This is you don't want to be too or you don't want to go overboard on anything, whether it's drugs, alcohol, overbuying, eating. Too much of a good thing is not good. So they
Yeah.
want to give you the nice things, but
Yeah, when I see a square,
this is asking you to have control.
yeah, when I see a square or an opposition between these two benefics, I always think too much of a good thing. It's like a hangover, whether that's a literal hangover or a food hangover or whatever. When is that Mars opposite Pluto at 6:44 a.m. in Michigan? And then this is only 6 hours later. So it's very interesting that those two are going on at the same time. But it's like they kind of can't see each other. They're in aversion to each other. So it's interesting. So there might be this power dynamic going on with Mars opposite Pluto, but then you've also got this, too much of a good thing going on in another part of your life. It's going to be very interesting. A lot of Sag going on at the time. We have Mercury and Venus there, and we also have the moon there at the time of the exact opposition between these two. So it will be interesting.
And this next one will happen November 4th. This is Monday. Our time will have changed by now. Mars enters Leo, and Mars is happy to be out of Cancer. Mars was too emotional in Cancer. I think Mars in Leo is a little bit more to Mars's style. Mars likes the fiery type of energy. So I think Mars will act a little bit better in this sign. But wherever Mars or wherever the Leo house is in your chart, this is where it's going to retrograde. So whatever you're doing at the beginning of it for the first 6 degrees of this you're going to be going back over the same ground that you already had. So this is the sign to watch. So start writing down if anything important is happening in your life right about now for the next, I don't know, week or two.
Mm.
Give it a write it down, jot it down. I think it's longer than because Mars is going so slow because it's going to retrograde. So it'll be longer than that. Um,
Yeah, it looks like 6th of
but
December.
this is the 6th of December, so a month.
Yeah.
So just write down whatever happens between now and December 6th, and you might get an idea of the things that Mars is asking you to readdress. Because this is when that's what happens when a planet goes retrograde. It's asking you to go back over an issue that you thought you had completed, but with a retrograde, no, you'll have to redo something or go back over the same thought or idea. Not necessarily that you have to redo something, but it's more of a revisiting the subject matter.
Yeah. Mars is associated with, ambition, drive, anger, severing. So we have a planet in a new sign, so it's in Leo. So you could expect to be more active and involved with people and topics associated with the house of Leo. You could also have trouble with aggression from people in that house, people associated with the topics and subjects of that house. Might be a really good idea to try and keep cool, calm, and collected, be benevolent, be gracious, which is something that Leo should be able to do, particularly since we've just had that opposition with Pluto. And, that can be really quite contentious and quite explosive. And as Donna said, Mars is going to come back over this old ground. So, if you kind of lose your temper or lose your cool, maybe there's going to be consequences or repercussions or a need to go back. Or it could be, you want something, you are hoping for something to move forward, but, you're a bit pushy and, somebody who has some power to kind of delay that a little bit for you does so, so yeah, just be aware that could be an issue. And I mean, Mars is moving quite slowly at the moment. It's only moving at about 65% of its usual speed because it's not stationary yet, but it's slowing down. It's getting ready to station on the 6th of December, which, it's a month away, but it's, be here before we know it.
This year has gone by so fast.
It really has.
And then the sun will trine retrograde Saturn on November 4th. This is the same day, or no, this is the next day. So when the sun will trine Saturn, it's a good aspect. It's good for disciplined work. It's good for you have good attention to detail. This is any project that you do will probably not have to be redone. This is a good. I like this. I think it's for good for good serious work. Might have to be redone because of the Saturn retrograde, but
Yeah.
chances are not.
I wonder, or it could be that you've been putting it off and this is finally getting around to it. It's like, oh, yeah, I've got to do that. I can't put that off any further. I've had my 3 deadlines that I've passed. Maybe I need to do it now. Maybe there's been a reluctance to do it for whatever reason. You may be feeling a bit more disheartened about what you have to do at this time, but it's a trine, so that should be helpful. Just get in and do it.
And the next aspect we'll be talking about will be Venus will square Neptune. This happens November 9th on Saturday. So we have a couple of days.
About
We
5.
will here in the United States be still wondering what's going to be happening with the election with the Venus square Neptune. I'm not so sure we'll still know. This will be 4 days after the election. So I'm not so sure how we're going to be able to or when exactly those results will be official.
Mhm.
But the Venus square Neptune, you're looking through rose-colored glasses. This could be also things that are not quite tangible or not quite clear for you to see. So that's the type of energy. This could be uh, um, Venus will square Neptune. Impossible love expectations might be another theme that you're dealing with this. So it's things aren't quite clear, even though it's a Venus square. This would definitely be a time where you want to make sure you are not overindulging in alcohol or drugs. This is, you just want to be careful with that.
Yeah. Yeah, very easy to idealize, put somebody up on a pedestal and, think they're all this or all that, and maybe you're misreading signals, maybe you're being given confusing signals. And not just even romantic relationships, this could be, all sorts of relationships, friendships, family, or this could be something to do with art, could be maybe possible, really good for some creative
I
pursuit.
was just thinking that.
Mm. Uh,
Yep.
but in relationships, very easy to get a little bit carried away, which, if you can kind of keep one foot on the ground, that's good. But yeah, very easy to get carried away here.
Yeah, when you mentioned art, I was thinking that Venus square Neptune would be a good time to like have a breakthrough. Like if you're an artist and you're stuck on a particular
Mm,
aspect of whatever you're working on, this could be a breakthrough with that type of energy.
mm.
In the next aspect, it will be November 11th, and it will be Venus will enter Capricorn. And Venus, when it enters Capricorn, it's um, changing signs. This is obviously a day where you should really journal. Anytime a planet changes signs, it's a good time to journal. She uh she does have a little bit of affinity. I think she likes the coolness of Capricorn.
Yeah. In a day chart, it's got triplicity, so there's that. Not for night charts, so yeah. So yeah, she's Venus, planet of beauty and love and harmony and art and all those sorts of lovely things, ruled by Saturn here because Saturn rules Capricorn. Yeah, I always kind of think, she's not fallen for romantic traps. She's I always kind of think of her, she's a little bit hard headed here sometimes, but she's very practical, Venus here. So but look, wherever Capricorn is in your natal chart, the people and topics associated with that house, you may have some luck or just more harmony, ease, maybe some small benefit or gift via the people or topics associated with that house.
And the next aspect will be Mercury will square retrograde Saturn. And when this happens, it's a good, I don't know, and keep in mind that the Saturn is still retrograde. So I'm not discounting that. So some things might have to be reworked or re-gone over. But when Mercury squares retrograde Saturn, it's a good time to do that detailed planning. It's good for mental work. This is Mercury is in charge of the processes, and but it's a square, so that is a little bit of a challenge, but a square asks you to do something. So you very well might be making some plans for the future that you'll be working on.
Yeah, good for catching up on paperwork you've been neglecting, I would imagine. Just looking, both Mercury and Saturn are ruled by Jupiter, and that Mercury is coming up to oppose that Jupiter, which is interesting. Mercury is in a sign of its detriment because it's ruled by Jupiter, and Saturn's retrograde. So, yeah, things might not go to plan. You might think, okay, that'll take me an hour to complete that paperwork. Maybe it's going to take a bit longer. Maybe it may not be straightforward, perhaps. Maybe you've delayed doing it so long now you can't submit it online. You've got to go into some government office and, get all these things authorized. And yeah, maybe there's a little bit more drama involved if you've been putting things off. But wrapping stuff up. That Saturn is very close to stationing direct again, so things are getting sorted. So yeah, getting things sorted.
And the next aspect we're going to be talking about, it's going to happen November 15th. It's a Friday. Saturn will station direct, and it has been moving retrograde. So in the house of Pisces, whatever house that is for you, this is where you have gone over things, and this will be a new, almost a new start for Saturn. And it's going to, when it moves forward, because it's been looking like it's been going backwards, which it really hasn't. But when Saturn stations, you're going to feel that, and that's going to station on 12 degrees of Pisces. It went retrograde at 19 degrees Pisces. So anywhere in the next from between 12 and 19 degrees, those whatever's been happening, you might have to re-go over some of that Saturnian items that have been happening in your life. Those things that and Saturn is about building things. It's about barriers. It's about restriction as well. So those will be the types of things that are coming up for you in your house of Pisces.
Yeah. Saturn is restrictions and limitations and all that, but it's also, like Donna said, building and, making sure the foundation is strong and all that. While Saturn was retrograde, you may have felt that, things may have felt even more insurmountable and just, instead of thinking, okay, I'm going to put in this hard work, but it's going to be worth it because I'm going to achieve this really great goal or whatever you're desiring. It may have felt like, "Ugh, I've got to do all this work and, maybe it's not going to get me what I want, or it's just like, this is too much. I shouldn't have to do this. It can be really, those limitations and restrictions can feel even worse when Saturn's retrograde. So hopefully with Saturn stationing direct, there may be a little bit of lifting of all those things. It's not like everything's going to be full steam ahead and, suddenly Saturn's a benefic or anything, but maybe it will feel like, yes, it's hard work, but the rewards will be worth it, sort of thing.
It's going to be happening the full moon at 24 degrees of Taurus, about 4:28 p.m. Full moon's going to be happening on November 15th of 2024. That'll be a Friday.
Ooh,
And full moons are about culminations and things that are coming to fruition. Things that you've worked on in the past will be you'll be able to see the benefits of your labor.
look at this full
We
moon with
also have Mercury
Mars.
and yeah, Mercury and Venus are also going to be out of bounds.
Oh, interesting. Yes, very interesting. So Venus can see it. Fantastic by sign. So that's good. What's that? A trine. Yeah. Trine by sign, not by degree. Mercury can't see it. Either can Jupiter, which is a shame. Sextile to Saturn. Pluto by trine. Mars by trine. No, sextile. But yeah, this could be a very interesting full moon with Uranus at 25 degrees Taurus and the moon at 24 degrees Taurus. This is going to be exciting. I'm kind of looking forward to this. That's interesting. Oh, be careful what you wish for, Linda.
Jupiter across from Mercury.
They're going to be opposing my moon. Well, it will be interesting, that's for sure. Very interesting. Well, Donna, where can people find you and what services are you offering?
Okay, well, I'm trying to do some updates to my website so that people understand exactly what the different astrologies there are. So go on my website, donnabastrology.com, and you can get a brief description of the services that I offer, which is natal readings, horary, rectification, electional, as well as a little bit of medical. I also do energy work as well as working with crystals. So if you have gone through a stress anytime in your life and that will have knocked out chakras out of your out of alignment because they're supposed to go straight up and down and but if you have one that's like knocked out of whack, chakra balance will help your body be able to heal itself a little bit easier according to this method. So it's the best way to put it. And Linda, what are you doing and how can people get a hold of you?
I'm at Scullywag Astrology. That's astrology.scullywag.com. I offer year ahead relationship readings and natal readings. So thank you for
Right.
listening, and thank you for your likes and your shares and your comments. And we hope this new moon's a nice one for you.
Sounds great. Thank you.